Hello everybody, thank you for coming along. As I said, so I look after the work that we do from an external perspective for Emis to bring people into the business. We are a health tech company at the core of what we do, so we build systems for GPs, hospitals, pharmacies, that sort of thing. We have offices across Leeds, Bolton, Watford, London and various other places across the UK, and all of them are constantly hiring tech talent to some degree. Everyone's got a bit of a different view of to what constitutes tech talent. It goes from everything from very hardcore developers who are coding all day long to testers, to technical project managers, architects. But then often it's the salespeople around who need to be technically minded as well. What we'll be touching on today really is looking at effectively what we've done to find tech talent, things that have been fairly simple to do, easy to do ideas that are fairly easy to pick up, but also the bigger thinking things that we've done. And then look at attracting them. How can we bring them into the business? What are the stats showing us at the moment? We can talk a bit around that, and there will be time for questions at the end. So in terms of finding them and sort of those easy to do ideas, we started with adverts at the core of what we do, and really looking at where are adverts working, where are they not working. I sometimes hear a bit of a myth around tech talent that adverts don't work for developers, they don't work for testers or whatever it might be. They definitely do work. There's definitely more that you need to do, especially if you're recruiting a lot of them. But adverts work certainly very well. There's been a couple of surprises for us this year in terms of what's worked for us from an advertising perspective. Glassdoor has consistently been really quite high up on where we're bringing in tech talent into the business. And when I looked at our profile just the other week, these are the jobs that people are applying to on our Glassdoor profile at the moment. We are a Glassdoor partner, so we do pay for this partnership. We do a lot of work with them. But it's certainly paid off when we're looking at hiring in tech people. It's got developers there, we've got architects, project managers and more. We've had a lot of success with things like CW Jobs and Reed as well this year. They've been really beneficial investments for us as well. What I'd say with adverts is you can spend a lot of money on a lot of smaller platforms out there that will promise you sort of this pool of untapped candidates and all the rest of it. Worth looking into, worth going for and trying them out every so often. If you're anything like us, by the time you get there, everyone else has got there by the time you have. So often it is, we found sort of the bigger platforms that have worked best. Referrals, it'd be interesting to hear sort of what your views have been when at the end, but I've got a bit mixed views on referrals. I started at Emis Group in the October and was tasked with finding quite a large number of developers by the Christmas and having those offers out and accepted and all the rest of it. So the first thing we did was we upped our referral fee from about £300 to £750, and we made a commitment to everybody. If you get us the name, we'll interview them within a week if they can do that. We'll offer them or we'll reject them on the day before they leave the interview, and then you'll have the referral fee in your Christmas paycheck. We thought this was a great idea. So if you gave us one name, 750 quid, two names, 1,500 quid extra in your Christmas paycheck. As a result, we got no names at all, not one. We've learned a lot since then in terms of how we roll things out to the business and sort of what takes hold of things, and we've had success with referral fees since. There's a lot, and I'm sure it's been talked about today, that can be done with referrals and the gamification of that, which we are starting to look into now and starting to move towards. But referrals are really, they are working well for us now, especially at sort of the lower end tech roles, sort of more entry level service centre positions. The other fairly simple to do thing is events, things that you can go along to, pitch a stand, and you get face-to-face time for a good number of hours with actively seeking candidates. It's a really good way to quickly understand them, what their motivations are. It's a good way to understand what your talent competitors are doing as well, find out what messages they're putting out, find out what salaries people are talking about, find out what jobs people are talking about. The logo that I've put up here is actually an event which we put on ourselves earlier this year. It was a hackathon that we ran in Manchester with a few of our partners. This was a Saturday, and we invited developers, testers, anybody who was interested to come along and spend the day coding and building an application. And then at the end of the day, about 10 p.m, we had a bit of an award ceremony where everyone presented their application back, what they've done, and we gave out some prizes. I'm going to show you a video which explains it a lot better than I have, but this was our hackathon, Free Your Mind.
So today's been a fantastic opportunity to see how people use some of the new more modern technologies. If we can couple that with the importance of mental health issues and try and provide a benefit of having a good day and learning more knowledge, then it really is a win-win for everyone. It's really important that more than just developers come, because developers can write great code, but you need all of the supporting teams to turn that code into something meaningful, whether it's marketing, whether it's delivery, whether it's project management, or whether it's just testing the application. We've seen people from support backgrounds who've got an interest in technology come here and see how a dev team operates in a very short period of time, and what you see in that short period of time is the full kind of length and breadth of a development team.
Everyone who uses so much technology leaves this little digital footprint behind, and we should be using that information and trying to figure out what all that data means in terms of what levers does it give us to pick things up and improve outcomes for patients.
If my phone could talk, it would have been screaming from the rooftops that something was wrong.
Our app is a wellbeing app for healthcare professionals
that looks at how staff are engaging with each other and the department as a whole. Some of the metrics that they carry on their watch or phone in terms of steps, sleep, exercise, things like that correlate with good mental health and well-being, and bringing those more into the workplace, gamifying them, seeing if they can be used to change behaviours, and then also taking all that information and other bits of information and putting that together to help them reflect on the way they're behaving, the way they're reflecting on what's going on in the workplace.
I think it's fascinating just how much technology has moved on and how much we can use. If we can use that as a stepping stone to get people face to face for help, then I'm all for that, and hopefully what people are doing here and the ideas they're coming out with grab that sentiment and are actually creating something from it.
I couldn't be prouder than working at Emis, I have to say, in terms of the way Emis behaves and the things it does.
So the hackathon, we didn't really bill it as a recruitment event when we started doing it and to try and attract people in, but what we've got from it is a pool of people who are technical, who are on board with what we do as a company, and really want to engage with us now and going forward. So we've already started planning the next one. If you do fancy doing something similar, the 2 tips I would give you are engage with your agencies on this, because they will send people your way, and get as many partners to help you out doing it as well. So we use Codation, our apprenticeship provider, Amazon Web Services, our technology provider, and our charity partner of the year, Mind, and they were really helpful in planning all of that. Social media campaigns, if we move on to those bigger thinking things. We ran 3 in 2018. One was a great success, one was okay, the other was a complete flop. Not in that order, I might say. We learned a lot from doing them, and again, if you are going to do them, great way to reach out to a lot of people. Would suggest 2 things. One, engage with a media agency or an advertising agency who get recruitment, who sort of focus on recruitment, because they will add a lot more value to the process than anyone else. And the other thing is, don't worry too much about your content, just get as much of it as you can. This was just one Friday afternoon when a colleague and I ran around our office with some big pieces of card and a black felt tip pen, and got these pictures. That middle one was the highest rated picture that we put out all year, and it was taken within about 10 minutes after meeting the guy. Really good way to find people and engage with them. Bigger scale adverts. We've run quite a few of these. This isn't one of ours, this is one that was put up in Leeds, where we do a lot of recruitment. These are hard to measure the return on investment, so it can be hard to get the buy-in from the business if you're looking to do this. But if you can get the buy-in from the business, you'll find that these sorts of things get people talking about you almost more than anything else I've found. We've had ones in train stations, we've had ones on the side of buses, we're starting to talk about wrapping trains and trams and that sort of thing. And that's what really gets people talking about you. And when you go along to the event, people already know who you are, so it's a lot easier to engage with them. And then the apprenticeship programme, I'm sure again there'll be a lot of that, a lot is said about this in other talks today. I'm going to show you another video which tells you about us.
We are at the start of a huge explosion in terms of what we can do for health in technology. Bringing people new to the industry, junior talent into the software industry is really important for us. And partnering with companies like Coordination allows us to accelerate that growth and really stimulate change that we need for health tech.
Tom, Karen and Eustace are current Coordination graduates, and they've settled in really well, both through the training they were given from Coordination but also through their learning experiences here at Emis Group. And I think a true testament to the success of those Coordination graduates is that we are continuing to work with Coordination and are looking to bring in more people and upskill our current staff through that programme of work. The thing with Coordination is it's a brilliant platform to upskill these people so that when they do join Emis Group full time, they're bringing brilliant experiences and they can absolutely hit the ground running.
Coordination teaches the graduates the foundational skills required to enter into software development companies like ours. It teaches them the tools and languages required to enter into any modern software development company. Not only that, it teaches them how to use them using industry standards, which sets them up really well for the real world.
My name is Eustace Ogintis. I'm an apprentice developer at Emis Health, and I've graduated from Coordination Master course in March 2018. So one of the biggest barriers for aspiring developers is the belief that you have to be very good at math and have some sort of engineering degree. As I found out, that's not really the case. You don't really need any of those things to be a successful developer. You need a ability to solve problems and a desire to learn and keep learning. So the environment that Emis has provided me has been fantastic so far. I'm surrounded by people who have a wealth of experience and are very generous with their time and willing to help. Some of the tasks have been challenging, but I felt like they helped me grow enormously as a developer, and I've also been given plenty of room to learn new things. So overall, I would have to say it's been fantastic so far.
So Coordination have been great for us, highly recommend them. There's a lot of other apprenticeship providers out there which will train people up for you and work with you. Coordination, we've used them in the north, we're talking to others to use them in our southern offices. The apprenticeship programme, we worked really hard, and Grace, my colleague, worked really hard to get buy-in from one specific area of the business. And once they bought in, we rolled it out. And now we've got all the other areas of the business coming to us and development managers and directors saying, I want what they've got, I want to replicate it in my team, because it's worked really well. So if you've got access to an apprenticeship levy, certainly make use of it. To talk about attraction and sort of look at some stats around what brings people into businesses, take all of these with a pinch of salt, especially when we move on to talk about the salaries, because I haven't yet found a platform that will give you an accurate representation of what an average salary is right now. One of the platforms that I've used to sort of research this sort of thing over the last couple of years have been Stack Overflow. They've done a lot of surveys with developers specifically, and you can drill down, not particularly far, but you can drill down into the data that they present you with. One of their surveys from earlier this year, this was telling us the main drivers for what developers are looking for in a new business. So we can see money up there, we can talk about technologies, the opportunities for growth in their career, the culture that's around them in the office. These are all the key things that people are looking for. You can drill down into it, as I said, and when you look at what women are looking for, because we all know women in tech is really underrepresented, so if we can all do our bit for that, the order changes slightly. At the top, you get the culture and the environment. You get professional development coming in second, and you can see the others there. So Stack Overflow and their surveys that they do and the results that they release each year are really useful. When it comes to salaries, as I said, I've not yet found a tool that gives you accurate salaries. Glassdoor are a partner of ours. We do a lot of work with them. So I did some searches at the end of last week on some average salaries. At the top, it's what it was telling me that they were for a software developer in Leeds, in the bottom, London. Be interested to get the feel of the room, but they feel pretty low to me. So if you think about it, I suppose people are going on to Glassdoor because they're not very happy with their company, and if one of the key reasons they're not happy is because they're badly paid, this might reflect that. But use these tools. CW Jobs have one. I'm sure other platforms do have one to help you get a feel for it, but the best way you're going to get a feel for it is just by getting out there and talking to people. I'm going to finish with one more video. It was our most popular video last year that we ran on our social campaigns. And we used it across all of the roles that we were recruiting for, but the most people that it brought into us were developers, testers, and project managers.
I'm really driven by that overarching aim that we're helping to make patient care better across the whole UK.
We're kind of a close-knit bunch, and we're always there to help each other out.
It's like a whole new world, different new technology, just having new kids. Imagine a kid having a new toy. So we've got new shining toys to work with.
Everybody that's involved in the healthcare system, we can use technology to make their jobs easier.
You've got the flexibility to think up inventive ways to achieve the results you need to achieve.
I think I have quite a lot of people that I can go to help me when I need to. Personally, I feel very sort of supported. The company funding me to do my CIPD. I just couldn't work somewhere where I knew I wasn't changing someone's life.
The beautiful thing about a place like this is that who knows where it'll go. It's quite exciting.
And then you get to work, eh? Cut that bit.
So that's tech talent and hiring, our experiences, what's worked, what hasn't worked. But any questions, happy to chat them through now or later on.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ross, for that. That was